I do again. If marriage number one ends in divorce, there's always hope for more success the second time around.
Yeah, but before you walk down the aisle just yet, you have to make sure you're not repeating mistakes from marriage number one. So Dennis Vetrano is a divorce and family law attorney. He joins us now with tips to have a successful second marriage. Welcome back to the show.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Okay, so is there an acceptable amount of time to wait until you jump the broom again?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. And see, here's the thing, everybody's different, so there's no specific magical amount of time. But I will tell you this, take time to heal. Take time to learn any lessons that you should have learned from your first marriage, and take time to rediscover the person you really are and want to be moving forward.
Yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
I felt that. I'm not even married, but
You just felt that in
it's
your
so
soul.
in my spirit.
So, statistically, I believe it's like 43% of first marriages end in divorce or separation within the first 15 years. Is the success rate better for the second marriage?
Ooh, not so much. Actually, it's staggering. It's as high as 70%, if you can believe it.
Oh, wow. So third time's a chance.
Right.
Third time.
It actually gets worse to the third one.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so it can be tricky when you're entering a new relationship or marriage and there are kids involved. So how do you go about navigating the blended family?
Well, think of it like this. What you're trying to do is you're trying to take two split families and now make a new intact family from them. And that can be really complicated. So I always say stick to the 3 Ps, right? Pay attention to your kids. Focus on the professionals, and just make sure that you're taking the time with your kids to move through this process, because you know what? Kids move at their own pace, and you need to be patient for them.
Does it, I would say wait until the kids are grown, but that may not be the situation you do. But does it vary if the kids are much older, like adults?
Well, I think it'll vary if the kids are older, but again, you have to remember in these sorts of circumstances, the other thing I was talking about before is, make sure you include the professionals as well, because even if you don't think your kids need a professional, don't need a counselor, don't need a psychologist, especially if they're older, they probably do, so give that a chance and give that a try.
Okay, good to know. So finances are also important when it comes to marriages. What are some conversations to have about money before marriage number two?
Before marriage number two, I say prenup, prenup, prenup. And what do I mean by that? One of the main reasons why you do a prenup is for transparency. Yeah. So you want to have those conversations about, look, what's your debt? What's your debt to income ratio? Do you make enough money each month to cover all of your expenses? And for each party, what is your source of income to cover any of your expenses each month?
See, I usually ask, what's your family's dowry going to be?
Right.
Is that so wrong? No.
Okay, so in your experience, has there ever been a case where that ex just keeps rearing their head and, that wedge between the new couple?
It is, and we see it a lot. And I think one of the main reasons why we see it a lot is because people get into a new relationship before their divorce is final from their first husband or wife. So here are 3 tips for that. Do not do that, because that will ratchet up the emotions, right? And also, remember that when you're going through that process, you need to make sure that you're moving forward as much as you can be.
A lot of people, of course, after the first divorce, it's so painful, they swear off to ever getting married again. Do you think that's just them letting the fear get to them, or what?
I think it is, and I think, look, you have to remember that anything in life, anything that's worth the risk, your happiness, will also, there will be a risk involved. So you got to take that leap. You got to take that leap of faith. But just remember, there are things you can do to prepare yourself in advance to make sure that that next relationship is going to be successful.
Well, one thing I'll do in advance is call you before I make that leap. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, good to be here.
Really
All right, and if you need help navigating your divorce or second marriage, Dennis has a podcast with a lot of useful and helpful tips. Just check it out, DRV Law Show.